Have you ever looked at a car and thought, I know who drives that? We can't help but judge, but maybe there's more to this. They say you are what you eat. But what about what you drive? In a world where everything feels political, from your Pepsi to your Nikes, might your car also be saying something?
The manufacturers and advertising of cars has done a lot over the past 120 years or so to really push the cultural signifiers of cars and what they mean.
This is a story of how what we drive became a political statement. We like to think we buy cars based on logic, safety, power, price, cup holder girth, but data seems to suggest it's a lot more tribal than that. What if choosing a car was more like picking a character in a video game? Let's boot up the Culture War arcade and pick our fighter. Subaru Outback, outdoorsy, reliable, safe, appeals to liberal voters valuing environmentalism, practicality and family. Ford F-150, tough, durable, dominant. Republican voters prioritise tradition, strength, rural identity. Toyota Prius, once a progressive icon. Eco-conscious, humble, quiet, perfect for the socially responsible voter. Jeep Wrangler, rugged individualism. Conservative leaning buyers like the sense of self-reliance and off-road freedom. What's in your driveway and what are your neighbours saying about you? Let's cut straight to the electric elephant in the room. Elon Musk's Tesla. Once the poster child of the eco-conscious, the sleek, sustainable flex for the tech bro generation.
Did I buy this car because it's better for the environment? Sure. Did I buy this car because I'm better than you? Yes.
When I was driving around in the first years, like even people stopped walking on the street and watched my car and did a thumbs up. So it felt really nice.
But Elon bought Twitter, spouted right-wing talking points, and his favourability among Democrats tanked, while Republican favourability rose sharply. Liberals slap bumper stickers on their Teslas like apology notes.
Yeah, now you sit in the car of a right-wing Nazi weirdo.
Tesla lost its core buyers without winning new ones, as conservatives generally don't care for EVs. The Cybertruck did attract some right-leaning buyers, but let's say more on the extreme side. And then there's Jaguar. Once the ultimate Tory mobile, refined, expensive and for the tweed-clad drivers. But they made a big pink gamble. They went electric, they rebranded and they launched campaigns that look like Hermes fashion ads. Critics called it virtual signalling, loyalists called it nonsense. But there's a market for ultra-rich urban consumers. Most luxury EVs are sold in cities that tend to vote Democrat. For example, California alone accounts for about 30% of all US EV sales, and it's one of the most reliable blue states. A Stanford study found that the presence of certain vehicles in a neighbourhood was as predictive of voting behaviour as race or income. They used AI to scan 50 million Google Street View images, checking cars in US neighbourhoods for make, model and prevalence. Neighbourhoods with more pickup trucks leaned heavily Republican. Those with more sedans, like Honda Accords, voted Democrat. The study was able to predict neighbourhood voting with 88% accuracy.
So the car driving is integral to their citizenship. It's not just a random consumption item like a television. It's something deeper than that.
It's not just an American thing. Europe has the Peugeot 208, which can be seen as the car for the progressive urbanite. In the UK, a Land Rover Defender signals a traditional Tory voter. And in 90s Britain, the car didn't just shape cities, it decided elections. Enter the Mondeo man, a middle-of-the-road, middle-income guy with a middle-sized Ford. In 1997, Tony Blair's Labour Party made him their campaign mascot. Practical, aspirational and politically up for grabs. Win the Mondeo man and you win the country. Today, that guy is furious about the lack of off-street parking and thinks low-speed zones are communist. Sorry. Hello?
It's a fucking joke. There's a bike shit everywhere, the fuck.
The politics of cars have always been gendered, and mostly it's been aimed at men.
To what types of human beings has the car been central to identity formation? And I think that is disproportionately masculinized. You do see some car adverts explicitly targeting women, or segments of the car market explicitly targeting women, but it's generally the case. But I don't think those connections are usually as deep.
Sure, some ads target women, but the emotional bond, the idea that the car equals power, status, even threat, that's a very male-coded fantasy. But with the rise of electric vehicles, that's starting to shift, and gender politics of driving is being rewritten.
EVs have tapped a little more into that aspect of the kind of family car, or the EV as a family member. It can almost be like a kind of pet when they were initially coming out, where you could name your car and take care of your car, and your car would take care of you and your family. I feel like in Europe there's been more of the more feminine aspects of the car as a caring machine that the electric market has tapped into.
And it's not just class or gender. Race shapes perceptions too.
Most cars have that sort of class, gender connotation, even racial connotations, right? BMWs get called Bob Marley wagons. Driving a certain car in a certain context would be taken by the police as a sign that a black man is a criminal. So you've got all sorts of different identities constructed around the cars, both by the individuals themselves, but also by society, right? The police are doing that and saying this person's driving the wrong car. That's suspicious.
Black drivers in the US are 20% more likely to be pulled over, yet less likely to have contraband. It's what's behind the phrase driving while black, a lived reality where police treat your car not as a symbol of freedom, but as probable cause. So the car doesn't just reflect your identity, it shapes how others treat you. So, why do people get so weird about cars?
When you buy something, most of it is more emotional. Even if people will never say this transparently, that they buy something because of their emotions, but actually they do.
Cars have been built around identities, and often the manufacturers promote car clubs in a way, and car clubs become an important tribal or collective group. There's associations with, for example, being a Subaru driver, seen as maybe a little bit associated again with the coastal blue states.
Humans are tribal. It's why we love wasting our weekends watching our local football teams. Studies show our brains light up with threat and disgust when we see members of an opposing political group, a phenomenon called affective polarization. And it's no accident that cars lean into this tribalism. Pickup ads scream power, tradition, testosterone. And EV ads whisper sustainability, oat milk, ethical smugness. In the world of marketing, conservatives want durability and strength. Liberals want innovation and social responsibility. But there's another layer. In America, a car is not just a vehicle, it's a patriotic duty.
And the dominant system of automobility is the cars themselves, yes, but also the system of car manufacturing and the way in which it's part of the national economy.
Buying American, like choosing Ford over Toyota, has long been sold as more than economic support, it's cultural allegiance. So when did the car start meaning more than going from A to B? Britain's 1865 Red Flag Act made drivers hire some poor bloke to walk ahead with a red flag, officially for safety. But really, it was a way to slow things down, literally and politically. Cars threatened the old order, the road-owning rich, and this law made sure the future didn't arrive too fast. Because even if the poor couldn't afford cars yet, the idea of fast private mobility spreading beyond the upper classes, good grief. But mass mobility couldn't be held back forever. World War I didn't just build tanks, it built the modern commute.
So you've got that sort of long history of nationalism, military preparedness, economic development, prosperity, and individual identities around freedom, and that is built into the symbolism of the car from early on. And I mean, most of those are still there.
World War II, Same template, bigger scale. Factories, mechanics, engines, the groundwork for the post-war automotive boom. The road to work was paved by war. The 1956 Interstate Act in the US poured billions into roads, not buses. The result? Car ownership wasn't a luxury, it was compulsory.
So cars are advertised partly through national narratives. And so here in the United States, for example, cars were always associated with imagery of the open road, of freedom and individualism, and that was tied to imagery of kind of rugged masculinity, the frontier.
In America, cars weren't just about movement, they were sold as freedom, the American dream soundtracked by the V8 engine. But that freedom wasn't for everyone. Highways bulldozed through black communities, urban planners and politicians used the car to decide who got access and who got erased. So cars are far too political for you, so you hop on a bike. Neutral, right? Welcome to the Lycra front lines. In cities like London and Paris, cycling has become a symbol of urban elitism, at least to some of those critics.
And we do see a lot of backlash against some of the new cycling lane infrastructure and bicycle-friendly policy that's happening in cities around the world. But of course, this has involved trying to price the streets and access to them to discourage driving, right? To make it more expensive with congestion charging or with high parking fees, taking away parking spaces, things like that. So yeah, it does make drivers angry.
Whether you're on four wheels or two, how you navigate through the city is tangled in identity, access and power. Politics today is anything but predictable. Your car used to hint at how you would vote. Now, it's much messier. Global surveys show people still see their cars as central to their freedom, but expectations are shifting fast. Autonomous tech, EVs, and car-free city plans are changing what it means to drive, or to own a car at all. And as cities reclaim streets for people, the old promise of freedom behind the wheel is clashing with new ideas of shared sustainable mobility. So next time you're stuck in traffic behind a Tesla or an old battered Astra, ask yourself, is this just a vehicle or a rolling advert for your values? What car do you drive and what does it say about you? Let us know in the comments. If you like this video, please subscribe to DW Rev.